Recording. Okay. So, hello everybody. My name is Erica Thiel, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join me for Cafe 42. These sessions usually last about an hour. Tied to our staff help sheet page is a repository, if you will, of past Cafe 42 sessions. So if you've missed out, or if you can't make it to the sessions, I do record these and post everything online. So there is an opportunity to kind of keep up to speed with what we discuss on these. I don't usually have an agenda for these meetings. The content of these are very user-driven, if you will. There are a couple of things I do want to mention, though, on this particular session, but without further ado, I'll go ahead and open the floor to questions, and then we run out of questions, and I'll kind of mention the couple of things that I'd like to talk about. Any burning topics? Or things that you're running into? And if you don't have a microphone, you can hover in the back on the bottom. So yes, Jerry, we are still having the issue. There was an update done to the browser, but we are having an issue with when people initially enroll. We are having an issue with the county selection piece. Now, that being said, there is in development a new version of 4-H Online, and that's something that I'm working with James on. So we're gonna have to really pay attention to our enrollments. There were some people, I just moved out of Idaho County today, but what 90% of your families are, I don't know what's causing that, but it is kind of like an autofill issue from what I'm hearing. And so I'm going to do a share screen real quick as to where you can kind of find where folks are at with their enrollment process. Sometimes they will end up in Idaho County. And so what I'll have to do on my end, and also what Susie's has been helping me out with, she's been kind of alerting me as far as who's been coming into her county, and we get them changed. But an area that you're going to want to search for or check on a fairly regular basis is your families. Searching by either the email address or the last name tends to work pretty well. What I found is a lot of families get to the initial part of getting their family enrollment done, and they don't have any member records tied to that. So let me see. So what you'll probably see is something very, very similar to this. They've gotten as far as getting this piece of information in. They've entered in their email address. A lot of times there'll be a phone number, but sometimes there won't be. I don't know how they're getting that to do that, but by far and away, initial family enrollment is what we have. Sometimes you will get pieces where if a family has an active member in there, sometimes the this member list, you need to check that the family record hasn't been updated with their county information. So that does impact, like with these incomplete records, if it's still defaulting like to Idaho County, none of their club options or their project options are going to show up right. So you may get phone calls on that. And like I said, this is going to be something that we're going to have to just painfully work through until we get that new version of 4-H Online up and running. I wish I had a better solution to that, and I apologize for any inconvenience, but I am trying to keep abreast of that to minimize those things. But if there's somebody that you can't find, let me know. I'm happy to help you out. But searching under that families tab is going to be the first place to start, and then I would also check members and volunteers just by the chance that maybe that they've created a record. Sometimes they have, sometimes they haven't. But thank you, Jerry, for that. Any further questions on that? So how that's happening, there's a variety of ways that people are getting or accessing 4-H online, be it on their cell phone, tablet, you name it. They're using a wide variety of browsers. Some of these browsers, depending if they've utilized 4-H online before, will have an autofill. Sometimes if it thinks it needs to fill in with Idaho for whatever reason, like when you've done ordering and stuff, it's an autofill issue that's kind of causing that. But James is working on trying to get around that. We are not the only state that's having this issue. Kansas is running into this a lot, or any other state for that matter that has a state-named county. It's really wreaking havoc with them as well. So we're not alone, if that's any consolation, but it does add to the timeline, and it does add to the processing. So the new version will be hopefully coming out next year. That is in development now. We will definitely keep you posted. I think that's something that they're going to be working on over the summer, and I'm hoping it's viable by October 1. We'll see. And that's a timeline that's going to be set by James. So he's got a lot of other irons in the fire with Record Book and particularly with Fair Entry. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. So adding attachments to an email. Okay, hold on here. I gotta get my ice bag. My sister-in-law, she fell down the stairs, and my knee was kind of a recipient of her fall. So it's been a little painful. But okay, so adding an attachment. So on your emails, you can't really do an attachment per se, but you can do a link for like a newsletter, or you can upload whatever documentation you kind of need to insert into that email. Is that what you were looking for, Michelle? Okay. So let me do a share screen again. Okay, so the first part of doing your let's see here. We'll go into the demo county. The first part of doing your mailings, if you will, is to do a custom report. And so what the custom report is going to do is basically generate who you are sending out your email to. And so usually what you'll want to do on that, you'll have a name, you'll want to do member email. If it's, you know, more of a family type thing and you want to minimize the number of individual emails, you can also select your family email address. So it's kind of one-stop shopping there. Once you can also go a step further. You can do personalization. So if you insert like the member's first name, then you, on your merge fields, once you get into building your email, you can kind of add that customized piece. But you know, if you're just sending out a newsletter blast or just a general kind of club solicitation, or if you're sending out a livestock day flyer or whatever, you know, you can add more into this if you want. But once you've made your selections in this first screen, you click Save. Then the next part is going into your standard filters. I typically select adult and youth. And at this time of the year, if you're still working through your enrollment process, you would probably want to do active and pending. Just that you know, there may be people that are still needing to pay, or you may have leaders that are still needing to work through their either their protecting minors training, get their monies in, collect monies on your leaders, or perhaps they're still working on their background screen. You really don't have to flag anything else. Those are your primary ones. If you were wanting to go project specific, you can go on projects and you can select whatever criteria you're meeting on that. Once you've made your selections, you always need to hit save. Data and format options, you don't really need to have it sorted, but if you want, you can always do your sorting. Family email, or if you have it by name, then it would be ascending, but that's completely your option. So once you've made your selections, I don't know if we'll have anything that pulls on this since this is demo county. Okay, we did get a couple hits. And so the view report is always handy when you're building custom reports. It gives you a way of checking to see if something will pull. If you have nothing, then you need to kind of go back through. 9 times out of 10, it's a filter that's wrong. And one thing to keep in mind when doing your custom reports, less is more. So once you've gotten your report done, then you can hop over to your Connect tab. On your newsletters, you're going to want to have some sort of documentation in here. I always recommend uploading those as a PDF. That helps with the content remaining what it needs to be. So we do have a October update, if you will, that we could use as our documentation that we're uploading. So inserting the newsletter is the first or the second part of this, and then we can build the broadcast email. So building the broadcast email, click on the envelopes, and in this gray ribbon you'll see the tiny text, add broadcast email. So we're going to do, we're going to call this March update, although we're using an October newsletter, but it's okay. This is just demonstration. So email title, March update, create email. And so for in this screen, you have the title. In your subject line, you can go 4-H news from Demo County. Adding some sort of 4-H flag in the subject line is going to be helpful. Some way to delineate that this isn't just spam, garbage, something that they need to read. Whether or not they read it, it's kind of a catch-22 on that, but you're getting it out. So you can select your recipients, and you have 3 options. You can go send to families, send to members, or send to managers. The catch-22 with members is that the members have to have identified a separate email from the family email. And if you're wanting just to make sure all the families are getting it, your family option is going to be the best. It'll hit everybody, whether they're adult or youth in that family, and by far and away, that's probably one of the most popular selections. Now, if you're doing a solicitation to teens, you're going to want to make sure that you have their emails to start out with. I would probably go like send to members and then send to the family as a backup. A lot of times with your teens, they're going to have a different email address than their family. Another piece that you always want to do in your configuration, use my email as the reply to. That way, if they have questions on whatever you're sending out, they can hit reply, because typically if you forget to put that in there, how the emails are sent out in 4-H Online, it is a do not reply to type situation, so it won't go anywhere. So you always want to make sure you check that box, and then once you've gotten your parameters set, just hit continue. And here is where we actually build the body of the email, if you will. So hello 4-H families, March update, click here to view the details. And so here we're gonna do our little newsletter insert. So we wanted to use the October update. So you should have 2 field selection boxes that pop up. And if you don't see it, then you may need to do a Control- to zoom out on your window. But you should have the option of family, and you should also have the option of newsletter. And so in order for these merge fields to work, particularly for the newsletter, your newsletter has to be in there. So you type in whatever information you have. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. All right, so whatever else you want to include in your email, you can do that. So there's a couple of things. If you're wanting to add more of a formalized look on your email, you can add a logo. And so on the branding guide, so that's extension.uidaho.edu/branding, we have a piece here for logos. And we want the 4-H UI black logo, and I think it's this little one I usually use. That one's not working. Okay, so it's this, the JPEG, the little black JPEG. This is a small email, but if you copy this URL and just go copy, you will see here in your email what you use to build your email. There's a little picture here. It says insert edit image. And so if you click the box, this little pop-up should come up, image URL. So all you need to do is right click and hit paste, and there's the 4-H logo, and I've used this a couple times, but 4-H EXT logo, you want to title it, and just click insert. I do have a description. Okay, so it inserts the logo. So if there's something more formalized, let's say you're doing, there's a wide variety of things, but if you want to add a logo, you can certainly do that. Your option, but that does give you a way of inserting something more formalized to give it more of an official look. But once you've done your building of your email, if you will, if you need to leave, you can click save. The nice thing about this, if you get in the middle of something, the system does remember where you left off, even if you haven't totally completed your email. So you can come back in, hit edit, not a problem. But we're going to continue. And so this is where we get into selecting the report. And so then we are automatically taken to the custom report folder, and I worked in the broadcast email. So once you've located your report, you check the box, click save, and then it brings up your email recipients, and then you can hit continue, and you check the little box to send now. I'm not going to send that, but in a nutshell, that kind of walks you through that process and inserting your field. So did that help answer your question there, Michelle? Okay.
Yes, it did.
Great.
Now I have another question.
Sure.
Can you just like a family report, can you bring that up just for a family report, or do you have to do a whole general one?
What kind of information do you need in the family report?
Well, like if a family member comes in and they didn't know what they had signed up for, is there any way of just bringing that up? Other than going to their family and looking at it?
Well, an easy way, I think, okay, I'm going to do a share screen again. An easy way of doing it without having to get into the nitty-gritty of doing a report, you can actually just click right on the name, and there's this little cheat screen that comes up, And you can look,
Okay.
it'll bring you into what projects they have.
Okay, that's what I was, okay.
So that is a little workaround. It gives you their name, gives you their contact information. You can look and see what projects they're in.
Okay. That's
Or
how I
you
did.
can
I just didn't know if there was a way you could make a report or not. So, but that.
I think in the family there is member reports,
Okay.
and then you have. I was looking to see if there was a project selection. Well, projects. Yeah, listing with aliases. So it brings up a PDF,
Okay.
and then, that's all projects. Never mind, that won't work.
Okay.
I guess the easiest
is
do
to
a
just to click
report.
on their name and do it that way.
Yeah. You
Okay.
can click on their name, or you can always go through their screen. Oh, this one isn't active. You can go through their individual account and then get to jump right to their participation. Let's see here. If you click login, and if you know you're going to be making changes anyways, if you just jump to the participation,
Okay.
you can see what clubs they have and the projects. And that might not be a bad thing to verify with them, especially if they're in a dual county.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I did. So, okay. I was just trying to make it easier.
You could do the report, but for the amount of time it's going to take you to, it's the same amount of clicks by the time you get all said and
Yeah.
done, as far as doing a report or just hopping directly to the record.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Diane. Let's see, current 4-H enrollment and enrollment history will list their projects. So those are those member reports that are available off of the member list screen, right? Okay, so let me do a share screen again. Okay, so if you select the member and 4-H enrollment for current year, let's see here, enrollment, just the enrollment form. Oh, it's blank. Enrollment history. Oh, it's still working on it. There we go. Let me pull this over here. Okay, so then you can run it that way. Those are off the member list once you log into their family, and then it's the enrollment history. So you can kind of see what they've taken and what they're signed up for. So, re-enrollment form current year is another option. Okay, re-enrollment. There we go. Oh, that whittles it way down. Thank you. So those are a couple options if you need to print it out piece, like if they aren't sure, need to think about it, that type of thing. You could print this off and send it with them. Thank you, Diana. Okay. Any other questions? Or did that help, Michelle? Okay. All right. So there were a couple of things, just as a couple of reminders. One thing you're definitely going to want to make sure you're checking your enrollments. We kind of talked about that already for your incomplete records pending. So to do that, from your members and volunteers screen, especially if you guys are getting ready to close your enrollments for fair participation, that type of thing, you can filter down by incomplete and pending, and then that will pull up if you've got some people that maybe you need to contact, and you can, you know, go, okay, so are you going to participate this year? I noticed you started your enrollment process in December. You know, is there something you need help with? If they decide they're not going to do it, you should have a delete member option once you click on their record. If not, let me know. If they've decided, you know, not to do that, that's the easiest way to kind of clear them out of the system. Or you can, you know, delete the year, and you can archive them if maybe they're going to do something different this year, but they may be back next year. For those that are incomplete, you know, again, there might be something that they've got hung up on in the system, or they had a question. And then your pendings, you know, you want to work with those folks to make sure they get their monies in and get their, you know, see where they're at, if they've gotten everything selected. If it's a matter of them getting their monies in, you know, work with them. You may have to make some phone calls to remind them. We're getting close to the time where programming is going to start. And so group enrollments are not that hard to do. If you've got educators that are working with youth, doing youth programs, or if you are doing youth programs, regardless of who's in the audience, the group enrollment is a very critical piece. So the group enrollment, there's a template of the form on the staff help sheets page, but adding your group enrollment, you just click add, ask your program name, your description, when it was started, when it ends. The 4-H year will default. You have a variety of different things. If there's, let's say you have a bunch of 4-H members that you're going to be doing some programs with, you can add a group, and then you can tie that group enrollment to that group. If you guys run into scenarios like that, let me know. I can walk you through that. But it's going to ask you presenter information, location. You got to keep track of your numbers as far as what your participants are. But it walks you right through it. So, you know, if you guys do have questions at any point on doing your group enrollments, do not hesitate to ask. But it's really critical that we get our numbers put into the system, because that does impact our ES 237. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to share, and it will be coming out probably in next week's 4-H Focus. There was a request put out, let's see, I think at the beginning of the year, to be part of a 4-H online team. And so I've gone through the process with Dr. Lindstrom. We've identified 4 people to kind of help provide more localized support for y'all. We're going to be working on some trainings, not only as far as new staff trainings, but face-to-face trainings on a regional level for you guys. Help give you some more support. But your Northern District contact is Charlotte Wilson. Southern District 2 is Michelle Tate. Southern District 3 is Teresa Taverdi. And the Eastern District is Lisa Barfus. And so those folks will be working with me, as well as Shannon and Adam McKinney, to provide you guys support. If you do run into issues in 4-H Online, still send your tickets to Zendesk, but you're going to start seeing them CC'd on items, and we are going to be doing a face-to-face meeting here in May, or is it, no, it's in June, I think. going through kind of the trainings, building up a timeline, but they're going to be asking you guys on different things, and you'll probably have more interaction with him potentially than with me. So it just kind of depends. But the goal behind this is to provide support for you guys, obviously. Communication. They have a localized presence, so if there's something that you're in need of or training or whatever, we can work collaboratively on that and get that taken care of for you guys. So I'm really excited. We still yet kind of need to formalize our game plan, but I'm confident that we'll get something going here, and I think you'll definitely see an impact from that. So I'm very excited about that. And let's see, what else did I have? I don't know, the events options are always open for you guys. So I know that in the southern part of Idaho, some of the counties do dual county pieces. And so events is a good way, especially if it's a 4-H audience type program, be it for Clover Buds or for regular members. Having people register for events through 4-H Online is not a bad thing. There's a lot that we ask within the system that saves a lot of time when it comes to registrations. Name, address, your emergency information, allergy stuff. That being said, I'm probably going to start adding in a question. Have you updated your health information to make sure we have current? Also asking for member cell phone numbers. One of the things that we had happen, we had an incident at KYG where I didn't have a cell phone number for a child, and it wouldn't have mattered anyways because she had her cell phone taken away, but we don't really ask for the teenager cell phones. And so a lot of youth have that, but that's always a question we can add into the event registrations. And also that verification that people have updated their health stuff and have updated their t-shirt sizes. And so I had a couple members who had not done that, and they had a kind of a dismay when they got a youth size t-shirt. I was like, well, this is the size of shirt that was reported right on your record. So, so non-4-H members cannot register for an event in 4-H Online. What you would need to do for those is do a paper version of your form. You can print those off. To get around that issue, like with Teen Conference, we actually have a separate registration portal through through Marketplace through the University of Idaho. So, you know, that does give you a registration form per se. I don't know how to do a workaround as far as to where they count into your head counts if you do have a head count. But we have recommended that people just, if you do have some folks, it's just as easy to do a paper form on those, get their monies, and you have their documentation, but you can get the same amount of information that you're asking in your regular registration. You may need to have a specialized cover page for them to make sure you've got all their contact information and that type of thing. Did that help, Diana? Okay. So other than that, we are still working on the credit card processing piece, if you will. Where we are at in that conversation is with the university, and it's come down to what's going to be the easiest way to process those payments, and then making sure that you guys get your money in a timely fashion. And we're really, there's a couple different options that can go, but that is still in negotiation. Our hope is to be able to test that out this fall, but as far as having an event or something for the summer and having that live, we are nowhere near ready for that. So we're hoping to get that pushed through or make some more progress, but it's still a negotiation piece with the university. So That's unfortunate, but we're working on it. So that's the main pieces that I had. Did anybody else have any other questions or anything you'd like to have ran through? Lisa, did you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Just anybody can call at any time.
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, if nobody has any more questions, I think we're good for the day, but thank you, everybody. Our next session will be, let's see here, it should be next month, but I haven't looked at April yet. Our April session will probably be on the 28th, because on April 20th through the 22nd, there's Youth Development Conference being hosted in Spokane by Washington 4-H agents. And so I'll be presenting at that conference, but please mark the 28th, same time, same location on your calendar, and we'll see you all in April.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.